I can't tell him that. I can't tell him.
You have to.
I can't. He's never gonna forgive this.
She called me a liar. She called me a scammer.
You know that moment when the air in the room changes and you realize nothing will ever be the same again? That's exactly what happened when Lisa finally dropped her truth bomb, and Daniel's face went from hopeful to haunted in a split second. 1 second, he's holding her hand, thinking he's got his ticket to a new life, and the next, he's staring at her like he's just seen a ghost. Lisa's voice is shaking, her eyes darting everywhere but at Daniel. And then she says it. She's still married. Not divorced, not separated, but married. The silence that follows is so heavy, you can almost hear Daniel's dreams crashing down around him. This isn't just a relationship on the rocks, this is two lives teetering on the edge, with everything at stake. For Lisa, it's the fear of losing the one person who's made her feel wanted after years of heartbreak. For Daniel, it's the possibility that all his sacrifices, all his patience, all those awkward family introductions might have been for nothing. And right now, both of them are wondering if they've been played. Welcome to Reality Sport. I'm Oliva. And if you think you've seen drama before, buckle up, because this is the kind of chaos that makes reality TV legendary. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop your wildest theory in the comments, because trust me, you're going to have opinions by the end of this. Lisa's confession isn't just a plot twist, it's a grenade tossed into the middle of a relationship already built on shaky ground. You can see Daniel's mind racing, trying to do the math, trying to figure out if he's been scammed or if he's the one doing the scamming. And Lisa? She's caught between relief that the secret's out and terror that she's about to lose everything she's been clinging to. But here's where it gets even messier. This isn't Lisa's only secret, not by a long shot. The tension in the room is thick, and you can feel that there's more coming, more lies, more confessions, more fallout. Daniel's pride is on the line. His family's honor, his shot at a new life. Lisa's reputation, her self-worth, her last chance at love, all hanging by a thread. And as the camera lingers on their faces, you know this is only the beginning. Because if Lisa's willing to admit this, what else has she been hiding? And how much more can Daniel take before he walks away for good? The answers are coming, but not before things get a whole lot messier. Before the confession, you could almost see the storm brewing behind Lisa's eyes. Every time Daniel asked about her past, she'd tense up, her smile flickering for a split second before she forced it back into place. She'd laugh off his questions, change the subject, or suddenly remember something she needed to do. But Daniel isn't clueless. He's been watching her, picking up on every nervous glance, every half answer, every time she hesitated before saying I love you. The air between them is thick with things unsaid, and both of them know it. Their relationship has always been a balancing act, each one trying to get what they want without tipping the scales too far. Lisa wants security, affection. Someone who won't leave when things get hard. Daniel wants a future, a shot at something bigger than what he's known, and he's willing to play the part if it gets him closer to that dream. But there's a price to every deal, and both of them are starting to feel it. Lisa's anxiety is like a shadow that follows her everywhere. She checks her phone obsessively, jumps at every message, and you can see her rehearsing conversations in her head, trying to figure out how much truth she can afford to tell. Daniel, on the other hand, is starting to ask more pointed questions. He wants to know about her exes, her family, her finances. He's polite, but there's an edge to his voice now, a hint that he's not buying the story she's selling. The tension is almost physical, like a wire stretched too tight, ready to snap at the slightest pull. Lisa's past is a maze of marriages, each one leaving its own mark, each one a secret she's tried to bury. She's been down this road before, promising herself that this time will be different, that she won't mess it up. But the truth has a way of clawing its way to the surface no matter how hard you try to keep it hidden. Why do people hide the worst parts of themselves from the ones they want to love? Maybe it's fear. Fear of rejection. fear of being seen for who they really are. Or maybe it's hope, the desperate hope that if they can just keep the mask on a little longer, everything will work out. Daniel's first real sign that something is off comes during a quiet dinner, when Lisa freezes at a simple question about her last marriage. She laughs it off, but her eyes give her away. He doesn't push, not yet, but you can see the wheels turning. He's starting to realize that the woman sitting across from him is a stranger in more ways than one, and the secrets between them are only getting heavier. Daniel's eyes are always scanning the horizon, searching for a future that feels just out of reach. He's made it clear from the start he wants more than what his hometown can offer, and Lisa is his ticket to that new life. He's not shy about his ambitions, but he's also not heartless. There's a line he won't cross, or at least he thinks so. Every sacrifice he's made, every awkward conversation with his family, every time he's swallowed his pride, it's all been for this shot at something better. But dreams come with a cost, and Daniel is starting to wonder if he's paying too much. The cookery class is supposed to be a bonding moment, a chance for Lisa to prove she's willing to embrace his culture. Instead, it's a masterclass in discomfort. Lisa tries to follow along, but she's distracted, her mind clearly somewhere else. Daniel watches her struggle with the ingredients, his patience wearing thin as she fumbles through the steps. The instructor senses the tension, but keeps the lesson moving, pretending not to notice the way Lisa's hands shake or the way Daniel keeps glancing at her, waiting for her to slip up. Every word between them is loaded, every gesture a negotiation. When Daniel insists that learning to cook his traditional food is non-negotiable, Lisa nods, but her heart isn't in it. She's trying to play the part, but the cracks are starting to show. Their relationship has always been transactional, even if neither of them wants to admit it out loud. Lisa offers stability, a way out, a promise of something different. Daniel offers companionship, a future, the illusion of love. Both of them are getting something, but both are losing pieces of themselves in the process. The cookery class ends with forced smiles and polite applause, but the distance between them has never felt wider. Daniel wonders if he's in too deep, if he's sacrificed too much to turn back now. Does he have an exit plan, or is he trapped by his own ambition? Lisa's guilt is bubbling just beneath the surface, threatening to spill over at any moment. She can't keep up the act much longer, and Daniel can sense it. The tension is building, and it's only a matter of time before everything comes crashing down. Lisa's voice trembles as she finally lets the words slip out, her confession hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. The cameras are rolling, catching every flicker of emotion on Daniel's face as he processes what he's just heard. She's still married. Not separated, not waiting on paperwork, married. For a split second, Daniel doesn't move. His eyes widen, his jaw clenches, and you can almost see the gears turning in his head as he tries to make sense of it all. The silence is suffocating, broken only by the sound of Lisa's shaky breathing. Daniel's dreams, his plans, his carefully constructed future, all seem to collapse in that moment. He pulls his hand away, his body stiff with shock, and the look he gives Lisa is a mix of disbelief and betrayal. The emotional fallout is immediate and raw. Daniel's anger flashes across his face, but underneath it is something deeper. A fear that he's been made a fool of, that his reputation is now at risk. In his world, honor and family mean everything, and the thought of being seen as someone who's been tricked, who's been intimate with another man's wife, is almost too much to bear. He paces the room, his voice rising as he demands answers, but Lisa can barely meet his gaze. She tries to explain, to soften the blow, but the damage is done. The pain of betrayal cuts both ways. Lisa is terrified of losing Daniel, but Daniel is terrified of what this means for his future, his family, his standing in the community. There's a universal sting to being lied to by someone you trust, especially when the whole world is watching. The fear of public shame, of being exposed, is enough to make anyone lash out. But as Daniel's anger simmers, a question lingers in the air. Is his outrage real? Or is he already calculating his next move? He's come too far to let go of his dreams so easily, and you can see him weighing his options, trying to decide if this is a deal breaker or just another hurdle to overcome. Lisa, meanwhile, is crumbling under the weight of her secret. She's confessed one truth, but there's more she hasn't said. More that could blow everything apart if it ever comes to light. The tension is unbearable, and you can feel that the worst is still to come. Daniel stands frozen, his mind racing, the weight of Lisa's confession pressing down on him like a stone. He doesn't shout, not at first. Instead, he pulls away, putting as much distance as the small room allows. His eyes dart to the cameras, then back to Lisa, as if searching for an escape route that doesn't exist. The silence between them is sharp, every second stretching out, making the air feel heavy and electric. When he finally speaks, his words are clipped, each one landing like a blow. He accuses Lisa of lying, of making him look like a fool, of dragging him into a situation that could ruin everything he's worked for. His voice cracks when he talks about his family, about the shame this could bring, about the possibility of being shunned by his community. For Daniel, this isn't just about heartbreak, it's about survival, about the future he's been building piece by piece, now threatened by a secret he never saw coming. Lisa tries to reach for him, but he steps back, his body language screaming that he needs space. She's panicking now, her mind spinning with regret and fear. She starts talking fast, her words tumbling over each other as she tries to explain, to justify, to beg for forgiveness. She tells him it was never her intention to hurt him, that she was scared, that she thought she could fix things before he ever found out. But Daniel isn't listening. He's replaying every conversation, every moment that suddenly feels like a lie. He remembers the times she dodged his questions, the way she changed the subject or laughed off his concerns. All those little red flags he ignored are now waving in his face. Impossible to ignore. Lisa's spiral is messy and raw. She paces the room, wringing her hands, her voice rising as she pleads with Daniel not to give up on them. She promises she'll get the divorce finalized, that she'll do whatever it takes to make things right. But the more she talks, the more desperate she sounds, and the less convinced Daniel becomes. He's heard promises before, and right now, words mean nothing to him. He's thinking about his family back home, about the elders who trusted him, about the friends who celebrated his engagement. He's thinking about the shame he'll feel if they find out he's been living a lie, about the questions he'll have to answer, about the respect he could lose forever. The room feels smaller with every passing minute, the tension thick enough to choke on. Lisa's regret is real, but so is her fear. She's terrified of losing Daniel, of watching her last chance at happiness slip through her fingers. She tries to remind him of the good times, of the plans they made, of the dreams they shared. She begs him to remember why they fell in love in the first place, but Daniel's face is hard, his eyes cold. He's not ready to forgive, not ready to forget, and definitely not ready to move on. As Lisa's panic grows, she starts to unravel. She blames herself, then blames circumstance, then tries to blame Daniel for not understanding. She's grasping at straws, desperate for anything that might make this nightmare go away. But Daniel isn't budging. He tells her he needs time, that he can't even look at her right now, that he doesn't know if he'll ever be able to trust her again. The words hit Lisa like a slap, and for a moment, she's silent, her eyes filling with tears. The callback to earlier moments is impossible to ignore. Every time Lisa hesitated, every time Daniel looked at her with suspicion, every awkward silence and forced smile, they all make sense now. The puzzle pieces fit together, but the picture they create is one neither of them wants to see. Lisa remembers the cookery class, the way Daniel watched her, the way she felt like she was being tested. She remembers the dinner where she froze at his question, the way his eyes narrowed, the way he seemed to know she was hiding something. All those moments were warnings, and now, the consequences are crashing down around them. Daniel's mind is a battlefield, torn between anger and disappointment, between the dream he's chased and the reality he's facing. He wonders if he should walk away, if the green card is worth the humiliation, the betrayal, the risk to his reputation. He thinks about starting over, about finding someone else, about cutting his losses before things get even worse. But then, he remembers the sacrifices he's made, the promises he's kept, the hope he's carried for so long. Is he really ready to throw it all away? Or is he willing to swallow his pride and keep playing the game? Lisa, meanwhile, is running out of options. She knows she's on the verge of losing everything, and the fear is eating her alive. She starts to cry, her sobs echoing in the small room, her hands shaking as she begs Daniel to stay. She promises again and again that she'll fix things, that she'll make it right, that she'll never lie to him again. But the trust is broken, and both of them know it won't be easy to put the pieces back together. Just when it seems like things can't get any worse, Lisa's phone buzzes. She glances at the screen, her face paling as she sees her daughter's name. For a moment she hesitates, torn between answering and ignoring the call. But the decision is made for her when Daniel, still fuming, tells her to take it. Lisa steps out of the room, her hands trembling as she answers. Her daughter's voice is calm but firm, asking what's going on, why Lisa sounds so upset, what she's done this time. Lisa tries to hold it together, but the tears come faster, her words tumbling out in a rush as she tries to explain the mess she's made. Her daughter listens, her silence heavy with judgment and concern, and for the first time, Lisa realizes she might not just lose Daniel, she might lose her family too. Faith's voice cuts through Lisa's panic like a cold splash of water, steady and unflinching, the kind of tone that says she's heard her mother's excuses before and isn't buying them this time. Lisa tries to start with small talk, but Faith isn't having it. She wants answers, not apologies. She asks her mother point blank what happened, why she's crying, and what she's done to Daniel. Lisa hesitates, her words catching in her throat, but Faith doesn't let up. She's tired of the half-truths, the drama, the endless cycle of secrets and regret. She tells Lisa that if she wants any hope of fixing things, she needs to stop hiding and start telling the truth, not just to Daniel, but to herself. Lisa tries to defend herself, saying she was scared, that she didn't want to lose Daniel, that she thought she could handle it on her own. But Faith isn't moved. She reminds her mother of all the times she's watched her sabotage her own happiness, all the times she's seen her run from the truth instead of facing it head on. Faith's questions are sharp, but they come from a place of love, a tough love that Lisa has always struggled to accept. Why did you lie? Why did you think you could keep this from him? What did you expect would happen when the truth came out? Lisa stumbles through her answers, her voice growing smaller with each word, but Faith doesn't let her off the hook. There's a heaviness in Faith's words, a sense that she's seen this pattern play out before, not just with Lisa, but with herself. She talks about the cost of secrets, about the way they eat away at trust and connection, about how they turn love into something fragile and conditional. She tells Lisa that hiding the truth never works, that it always comes back to haunt you, that the pain of honesty is nothing compared to the pain of betrayal. Lisa listens, tears streaming down her face, but she can't bring herself to admit everything. She's still holding back, still hoping that if she keeps some things hidden, she can salvage what's left. Faith isn't fooled. She pushes harder, asking Lisa if she's told Daniel about her marriages to women, about the parts of her past that she's never shared with anyone. Lisa's silence is answer enough. Faith sighs, her frustration clear, and tells her mother that she can't keep running from the truth. She warns her that Daniel will find out eventually, that secrets have a way of coming to light, especially when cameras are involved and the whole world is watching. Lisa tries to protest, to say that Daniel wouldn't understand, that he'd never forgive her, but Faith cuts her off. She tells her mother that she's not protecting Daniel by hiding the truth, she's protecting herself, and in the process, she's destroying any chance they have at real happiness. The conversation is a reality check that Lisa desperately needs, but she's not ready to accept it. She clings to the hope that she can fix things without having to bare her soul, that she can keep the most painful parts of her story locked away. Faith sees through her, and her disappointment is palpable. She tells Lisa that if she wants to break the cycle, she has to start by being honest, no matter how much it hurts. Lisa nods, but her eyes are distant, her mind racing with fear and regret. As Lisa hangs up, she's left with more questions than answers. She wonders what will happen if Daniel learns everything. If he finds out about the marriages she's kept hidden, about the life she's tried so hard to leave behind. She imagines the look on his face, the anger, the betrayal, the heartbreak. She wonders if he'll walk away for good, if he'll expose her secrets to the world, if she'll lose not just him but the future she's been fighting for. The fear is paralyzing. And for a moment, she can't breathe. Back in the hotel room, Daniel's silence is louder than any argument. He sits on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, his face unreadable. Lisa tries to talk to him, to explain, to apologize, but he doesn't respond. His silence is more dangerous than his anger. A sign that he's retreating into himself, weighing his options, deciding whether to stay or go. Lisa feels the distance growing between them, the gulf that her secrets have created, and she knows that words alone won't be enough to bridge it. The tension is unbearable, every second stretching out as Lisa waits for Daniel to speak, to shout, to do anything that might give her a clue about what he's thinking. But he says nothing, and the silence hangs between them like a verdict. Lisa is left alone with her guilt, her fear, and the knowledge that the next move could change everything. The question now isn't just whether Daniel will forgive her, it's whether she's willing to risk everything for one last shot at the truth. Lisa stands in the doorway, her hands trembling, mascara streaked down her cheeks, the weight of the night pressing on her shoulders. Daniel sits on the edge of the bed, arms crossed, his face a mask of stone. The silence between them is thick, broken only by Lisa's shaky breaths and the distant hum of city traffic outside the window. She tries to speak, her voice catching, but Daniel doesn't look up. He's shut down, his eyes fixed on a spot on the floor as if he can will himself somewhere else, anywhere but here. Lisa's words tumble out in a rush, apologies, explanations, desperate promises that she'll fix everything, that she'll never lie again, that she'll do whatever it takes to make him stay. But Daniel's coldness is absolute. He doesn't flinch, doesn't soften, doesn't give her even a flicker of hope. The emotional crescendo hits hard. Lisa's shame is raw, her fear almost physical. She drops to her knees, pleading, her voice cracking as she begs Daniel not to leave her, not to throw away everything they've built. She talks about the loneliness she's carried for years, the hope she found in him, the future she saw every time she looked at him. But Daniel's silence is a wall she can't climb. He's thinking about his family, his reputation, the risk he took by trusting her. He's thinking about the shame he'll face if he goes home empty-handed, about the questions he'll have to answer, about the respect he might never get back. The threat of total loss hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. Lisa's breakdown is messy, her sobs echoing off the hotel walls. She tries to reach for Daniel, but he pulls away, his body rigid with anger and disappointment. She begs him to say something, anything, but he stays silent, his jaw clenched, his eyes cold. The pain in the room is almost unbearable. Two people trapped by their own choices, their own secrets, their own fears. Lisa wonders if this is the end, if she's finally pushed him too far, if there's any way back from the damage she's done. But a small part of her clings to hope, to the idea that maybe, just maybe, this could be a new beginning, even if it's built on even shakier ground than before. The memory of the opening shock lingers, Lisa's confession, Daniel's stunned reaction, the moment everything changed. It plays over and over in both their minds, a reminder of how quickly trust can shatter, how easily love can turn to suspicion and regret. Lisa tries to remember the good times, the laughter, the promises, but all she can see now is the hurt in Daniel's eyes, the distance that's grown between them, the future slipping through her fingers. Daniel's next move is a mystery. He stands up, grabs his jacket, and heads for the door without a word. Lisa calls after him, her voice breaking, but he doesn't turn around. The door closes softly behind him, leaving Lisa alone in the silence, her heart pounding, her mind racing with questions. Is this the end of their story? Or is there another twist waiting just around the corner? The answer hangs in the air, as uncertain and fragile as the love they once shared. Lisa sits alone in the hotel room, the city lights flickering through the curtains, her reflection staring back at her from the darkened window. The silence is deafening now that Daniel is gone. She pours herself a drink, the glass trembling in her hand, and takes a long, slow sip, hoping the burn will numb the ache in her chest. But nothing dulls the pain. Her mind races through every moment, every lie, every desperate attempt to hold on to something that was always slipping away. She thinks about the first time she met Daniel, the hope she felt, the way he looked at her like she was someone worth loving. Now, all she sees in his eyes is disappointment, betrayal, and a coldness that chills her to the bone. She tries to replay the night, searching for the moment when everything went wrong. But the truth is, it was never just one moment. It was 1,000 little choices, 1,000 tiny secrets, each one building on the last until the weight became too much to carry. Lisa's hands shake as she pours another drink, her thoughts spiraling. She wonders if she could have done anything differently, if she could have trusted Daniel with the truth from the start, if she could have been brave enough to risk losing him before she lost herself. The regret is sharp, cutting through her with every breath. As the hours drag on, Lisa's unraveling becomes impossible to hide. She paces the room, her mind replaying Faith's words, the tough love, the warnings she refused to hear. She remembers the look on her daughter's face, the disappointment, the fear that Lisa would never break free from her own patterns. The cost of secrets is clear now. Every lie has chipped away at her happiness. Every omission has built a wall between her and the people she loves. She wonders if she's doomed to repeat the same mistakes, if she'll ever find a way out of the cycle she's trapped in. Meanwhile, Daniel is out in the city, walking the empty streets, his mind a storm of anger and confusion. He replays Lisa's confession over and over, each time feeling the sting of betrayal all over again. But beneath the anger is something else, a calculation, a weighing of options. He thinks about everything he sacrificed, the pride he swallowed, the dreams he's chased. He wonders if forgiveness is possible, if he can ever look at Lisa the same way, if he can ever trust her again. The green card, the promise of a new life, still hangs in the balance, tempting him to stay, to fight for a future that now feels tainted. Daniel's pride is wounded, but his ambition is still alive. He knows that walking away means starting over, facing the shame of failure, explaining to his family why he's coming home empty-handed. But staying means living with the knowledge that the woman he loves has lied to him, that their relationship is built on a foundation of secrets and half-truths. The price of chasing dreams is high, and Daniel is starting to wonder if it's worth paying. He thinks about the cookery class, the awkward dinners, the moments when he felt like an outsider in his own life. He remembers the hope he felt when he first met Lisa, the belief that she could be his way out, his chance at something better. Now, all he feels is uncertainty. Back in the hotel, Lisa's thoughts drift to the seeds that were planted long before tonight. She remembers the first time she lied to Daniel, the first time she told herself it was harmless, that it was for his own good. She remembers the way he looked at her when she dodged his questions, the suspicion in his eyes, the way he always seemed to know when she was hiding something. Every moment, every choice has led them here, to this night, to this silence. The truth was always going to come out. And now that it has, Lisa is left to pick up the pieces. She thinks about Faith's warning, about the cost of living a lie, about the way secrets can poison even the strongest love. She wonders if she has the strength to tell Daniel everything, to finally lay all her cards on the table, to risk losing him for good. The fear is overwhelming, but so is the need for honesty. Lisa knows that if she wants any chance at happiness, she has to stop running, stop hiding, and start facing the truth, no matter how much it hurts. Daniel, meanwhile, is wrestling with his own demons. He thinks about the future he wants, the life he's dreamed of, the sacrifices he's made to get this far. He wonders if he can forgive Lisa, if he can move past the betrayal, if he can build something real out of the wreckage of their relationship. The decision isn't easy, and the stakes have never been higher. Every step he takes brings him closer to a choice that will define the rest of his life. As dawn breaks, Lisa sits by the window, watching the city wake up, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She knows that Daniel's silence is more dangerous than his anger, that the next move is his to make. She braces herself for whatever comes next, knowing that the truth has a way of demanding to be heard. The phone buzzes again, a new message lighting up the screen. Lisa's hands tremble as she reads it, her breath catching in her throat. The next secret is about to explode, and this time, it's not just her future on the line, it's Daniel's too. Will Daniel choose forgiveness, or will he walk away for good? And if he stays, can they ever rebuild what's been broken? Or will a new player step into the game and change everything once again? The story isn't over. Not by a long shot. And if you think this was the last bombshell, wait until you see what's coming next. If you want to know how Daniel's decision shakes up everything, you won't want to miss what happens in the next chapter.